you see the players of today's basketball with that mindset to achieve greatness?
It's hard to be hungry when you have. Simple as that. I mean, if you don't have, you are willing to do whatever you have. So my mental approach was go in, do my job, be the best basketball player I can be, and all the chips and everything outside of that, I had people that were handling that, you know. But basketball court, I'm handling it, right? And now it's like, it's a prerequisite. You know, everybody has to have a logo.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Michael Jordan just dropped a bombshell that exposed everything wrong with the NBA today, revealing a contract clause no modern player would ever sign. When today's stars heard about it, they didn't just disagree. They laughed and mocked the entire idea. What Jordan valued most about basketball is exactly what this generation refuses to give, and this isn't just about different eras. Two completely opposite philosophies are colliding here, and the numbers prove one works way better than the other.
Your love of the game is still there. I can feel it from you. Sure. Right? How did that love of the game fuel your career?
It was the basis of my career. My love of the game within my contract, which, you know, I'm pretty sure most contracts now, I'm actually positive now, don't have that clause within the contract where...
You had a clause in your contract.
Love of the game contract, right, that if I was driving with you down the street and I see a basketball game on the side of the road, I can go play in that basketball game. And if I get hurt, my contract is still guaranteed. I love the game so much that I would never let someone take the opportunity for me to play the game away from me.
It might not be in the team's best interest, in your best interest, to play all 82. Is that something you thought about at all since you made the goal?
I mean, that's a goal, but yeah, we'll see.
The next day.
I'm available to go and be in the pro. If OBJ shows up, he might score 100.
Jordan sat down with Mike Tirico for his first real public role since retiring, opening up about something incredible that nobody talks about anymore because it doesn't exist in today's NBA. The love of the game clause. What it meant was wild. If Jordan was driving down the street and saw a pickup game happening on the side of the road, he could pull over, jump in, and play, and if he got hurt, his contract stayed fully guaranteed. Jordan loved basketball so much that he made sure no team could ever stop him from playing anywhere, anytime, with anyone. Teams today won't even let players ride motorcycles or go skiing, with insurance policies that ban dozens of activities and fines for playing pickup games without permission. The entire system is built around protecting the investment, protecting the asset, keeping guys bubble wrapped until game time, but Jordan went the complete opposite direction.
As opposed to now where you don't have it, players probably don't play. Now they get individual attention with their trainer.
Sure.
You know, ready to go out and shoot 100 shots or 1,000 shots. I found it to my benefit was, go play basketball, man. That's what you did. That's what you grew up doing.
He told his team straight up that he would never let anyone take away his opportunity to play basketball, and that's how deep his love for the game went. Jordan wasn't just talking, he lived it. In his rookie year, he played all 82 games, not 75 or 70, all 82, and that wasn't unusual for him. Over his career, Jordan played every single game 9 different times, 9 full seasons where he never missed once.
We come to practice, he's on one leg. Like he was hurt the second year, he was on one leg the whole year and played 82 games. Wow. And so he practiced every day and he played every game on one leg. And so he's like, man, MJ, why don't you just sit out? How can I be the leader of the team and sit out and y'all going through all the credit? I gotta be there.
I twist my ankle and I had a teammate, David Greenwood. He says, you know, you twist your ankle, young fella, come over and sit with me. You know, this is, you need to. I said, no, man, I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I wanna play, I wanna win. I want to make an impact.
Compare that to today, where LeBron James has played all 82 games exactly one time in 22 seasons. Kevin Durant has done it 3 times in 17 years, and Stephen Curry has never played a full season. These are supposed to be the guys challenging Jordan's legacy. Jordan's clause meant more than just showing up for NBA games. It meant he was out there playing real basketball all summer in pickup games, scrimmages, and competitive runs where nobody's holding back. That's how he got better, and he talked about how Larry Bird spent an entire summer working on his left hand, not by shooting alone in a gym with a trainer, but by playing actual basketball games.
Larry Bird took a whole summer to work on his left hand, right? He did it by playing basketball.
So when you're in a game, you have to react and compete and solve problems in real time, which is what builds greatness. Modern players don't do that anymore with their individual workouts, where they shoot 1,000 shots with nobody guarding them and work with personal trainers on specific moves. Sure, that's all helpful, but it's not the same as competing, not the same as facing double teams and physical defense and having to figure it out on the fly. Jordan understood that the best way to prepare for basketball was to play basketball, not drills, not controlled situations, but real games where something's actually on the line. Then Jordan said something that cuts right to the heart of why today's NBA feels different. It's hard to be hungry when you already have everything, and that's just facts. If you don't have something, you'll do whatever it takes to get it through sacrifice and competition and work because you need it. But when you're already set for life before you even prove yourself, when you've got the guaranteed contract and the shoe deal and the social media following, that hunger disappears. The desperation that drives greatness just isn't there anymore.
So it's May. My season's been over. I'm a third-year guy in the league. I call you. Michael, what do I do from now until the season starts to get better? What are the things you tell me that are important?
First of all, is your passion. You know, there's something about your passion or wanting to get better that drives that energy. I mean, when I say passion, that means if I have a love for ice cream, I mean, real deep love for ice cream. I'm gonna do everything I can to go find ice cream.
Right.
Or find that flavor of ice cream.
What flavor, by the way?
Butter pecan for me.
Okay, good.
Just so you know.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of, you know, if basketball was that type of love for me, you know, I had to find a way to make sure I was the best basketball player I could be.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Jordan's approach was simple. Go in, do the job, be the best basketball player possible, and let everything else fall into place. He had people handling the business side and managing his brand, but on the court, that was all him. That was where he put his focus. That was where he lived. Everything outside of basketball came second, always. But now it's flipped, where players want the brand first, want the logo and the signature shoe, and the lifestyle before they've earned any of it. Jordan called it out directly when he said everybody has to have a logo now and everybody needs a brand. And yeah, he knows that's partly because of him. The Jordan brand changed everything and showed players that basketball could lead to something bigger. But here's the difference Jordan emphasized. His brand was built on what he did on the court, and he didn't create the logo and then hope people would buy into it. He won championships, dominated the league, and became the best player on the planet, and then the brand followed. The work came first, the success came first, and the brand was the result, not the goal.
You know why, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm part of the reason why everybody tries to get a logo, but
Brand, right?
A brand,
right? Brand Jordan.
But the thing is that brand established based on what I did on the basketball court. You know, I didn't put the brand before I put the work. Mm-hmm. You know, right. I put the work first, and then the brand evolved based on the work.
Right.
A lot of times it's different. You see it in every sport, not just basketball, football, baseball. Everybody's walking around with a logo and a hat, and I get it. But whatever I did here is never going to affect what I do on the basketball court.
No, today it's backwards. Players are building brands before they've accomplished anything with logos and catchphrases and merchandise lines, while they're still trying to figure out how to win. And Jordan's point is that when you focus on building a brand instead of building your game, you're doing it wrong. The brand should validate what you do on the court, not the other way around, but too many guys today have it twisted. They think if they market themselves right and build the image first, the success will follow, and that's not how greatness works. The social media era makes it worse, where players are more worried about their highlights going viral than they are about winning games. They care more about their off-court image than their on-court performance, sitting out games to stay fresh while showing up for every sponsored post and brand event. The priorities are completely messed up, and Jordan said if he was playing today, his game would validate whatever he tried to do away from the court, not the other way around. Basketball first, always, everything else second.
You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all times.
The numbers back up Jordan's philosophy in a way that's honestly embarrassing for modern players. Remember, Jordan played all 82 games 9 times, but it gets even crazier. At age 40, playing for the Wizards in his final season, Jordan played every single game and averaged 37 minutes per night. And you know what's wild about that? If Jordan put up those minutes in today's NBA, he would lead the entire league. In 2022-23, no player averaged more than 37 minutes per game, which means a 40-year-old Jordan would be playing more than anyone in the modern era. Let that sink in. Jordan at 40 was giving more effort and availability than the so-called superstars in their prime today, and this was before all the modern advantages players have now. Jordan didn't have private jets for every road trip or a team of nutritionists and sleep specialists, didn't have cryotherapy chambers and hyperbaric oxygen tanks, and he played in an era when teams flew commercial and practices were harder, and the game was more physical. He still showed up every single night. Compare that to what's happening now in the 1999-2000 season. 58 players played all 82 games, and that's more than half the league just showing up and doing their job. Fast forward to today, where we're seeing the fewest players in NBA history play full seasons, and the years 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025 have all set records for the lowest number of players appearing in all 82 games. It's not even close anymore. We've gone from dozens of guys playing every game to maybe a handful, and this is with better medical care, better training methods, and better everything, yet players are playing less than ever. The culture of load management is the biggest problem. It started small with teams resting older players on the second night of back-to-backs, but then it exploded.
What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. You know, I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like, you know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Club on here and he talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. It's hurting the game.
From 2017 to 2022, the number of times a star player sat out one game of a back-to-back nearly doubled, going up 87%. And once a few stars started doing it, everyone else followed. If LeBron's sitting out games to manage his body, why shouldn't everyone else? And if Kawhi Leonard can miss 20-plus games a season without anyone questioning it, why play through minor discomfort? The excuses don't hold up either. Players and teams claimed the load management was backed by science, saying resting prevented injuries and extended careers. But then the NBA did their own study, and guess what they found? Load management doesn't actually prevent injuries. Joe Dumars, the league's executive vice president of basketball operations, said it straight up. The data doesn't show that sitting out games reduces injuries or fatigue. The only thing it shows is that players are slightly less efficient on the second night of a back-to-back, and that's it. Not injured or hurt, just a tiny bit less efficient. What does that mean? Load management was never about health. It was about comfort, about preserving energy for the playoffs, about not wanting to grind through the full season. Maybe that makes sense from a strategic standpoint, but it's not about necessity. It's about choice. And Jordan would have never made that choice. He saw every game as an opportunity to prove himself, saw every night as a chance to show the fans who paid good money to watch him that he respected them in the game enough to show up. Jordan talked about that too, saying he never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity. And he specifically mentioned the fans sitting in the top deck who probably worked hard just to afford that ticket. That person deserves to see the best players play, didn't pay to watch stars sit on the bench in street clothes, they paid for the full show, and Jordan felt a responsibility to deliver that every single night.
You know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket or to get money to buy the ticket.
You really cared about the guy who sat in the top deck at the Palace in Auburn Hills to watch you when you came to Detroit?
Yeah, because I know he's probably yelling at me and I want to shut him up. So if the guys are coming to watch me play, I don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, physically, if I can't do it, then I can't do it. But physically, if I can do it and I just don't feel like doing it, that's a whole different lens.
Kobe didn't want to disappoint his fans, especially the ones in the 300 sections that saved up to watch him play. I remember asking him why he couldn't just sit a game out because he was hurting. He said, "What about the fans that saved up to watch me play just once?" He never forgot about his fans.
You play basketball 2.5 hours a day, 3 hours a day, right? That's your job. That's what you get paid to do as an NBA player. What are you doing the other 21 hours? I mean, to me, that's when you should be preparing for your next day of work.
Today's players don't seem to care about that, sitting out nationally televised games, skipping marquee matchups, and resting on the road while playing at home. The fans are an afterthought. The league tried to fix it in 2023. They introduced the player participation policy where teams can't sit multiple stars in the same game. Healthy players who rest have to be visible to fans at the arena, and players need to play at least 65 games to qualify for major awards like MVP. It worked a little bit where in the first year, games missed by star players dropped about 15%, but then progress stalled. Players found new ways around it. Teams started listing minor injuries instead of rest, and the culture hasn't really changed. It's just hidden better. Here's a perfect example of the gap between Jordan's era and today. Anthony Edwards is one of the best young players in the league right now, with all the talent in the world, and even he needed basic help from Jordan. A high-level executive from the Minnesota Timberwolves told Jordan that Edwards was struggling with double teams and didn't know how to handle them, and Jordan's response shows you everything. Getting double-teamed is the highest respect a team can give you because it means they're scared and think you're that dangerous, and now the question is, how do you beat it? Jordan's advice was simple: move without the ball, get into the post. Find your scoring position before the double team arrives and act before they can react. basic basketball fundamentals that Jordan's generation mastered, but Edwards, despite being incredibly talented, hadn't figured it out. That's not a knock on him, that's a knock on the system, because somewhere along the way, young players stopped learning the basics while they're too busy working on their brand or their social media or their highlight moves.
You know, and I had a conversation this summer with a high executive at Minnesota, and he was talking about Anthony Edwards.
Yep, Ant-Man.
I heard during the course of the year that, you know, they were double teaming me. You know, he didn't know how to deal with the double team. Well, that's the highest respect that you can ever get if a team feels like they got to double team you. Now, how do you figure out a way to break that double team? Move without the ball, move into the post, get in scoring position so that the double team, you can act before the double, all those simple things. So, yeah, those are the types of conversations I try to have when players seek that information.
The fundamental skills that win championships aren't being taught the same way anymore. That brings us to the biggest question of all: what matters more, greatness or longevity? Modern players are obsessed with longevity, talking about playing 20 years and not resting to extend their careers and managing their bodies so they can keep going.
To have a long career, that's the goal, to be in the league for 20 years. I tell you, that's the goal.
You know, it's all about winning championships and winning.
Jordan never cared about that, and he said it himself. If he burned out, he burned out. If his career ended up being shorter because he gave everything every night, so be it. Because he wasn't trying to play forever, he was trying to maximize every single season he had. Look at the results. Jordan played 15 total seasons, but really only about 13 full years, when you account for his retirements and the broken foot early in his career. And in that time, he won 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and made 9 all-defensive teams. That's not just impressive, that's almost perfect. That's a resume nobody can touch. His peak was so high and so sustained that even with a shorter career, he's still the standard. Now compare that to LeBron and Kevin Durant combined. Between the two of them, they've played 39 seasons, nearly 3 times as long as Jordan's peak, and that's 39 years of professional basketball. What do they have to show for it? 6 championships total, 5 regular season MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, 5 scoring titles, and 5 all-defensive selections combined. In almost 40 years of basketball between both of them, they've accomplished less than Jordan did in basically a decade, twice the time, half the results. That's the reality of choosing longevity over greatness. Jordan wasn't interested in being good for a long time. He was interested in being great every single year he played, and he didn't just talk about it, he lived it. Even his teammates remember his philosophy. Former Bulls player Artis Gilmore once told rookie Jordan that if he wanted to play a long time in the league, he needed to stop diving for loose balls, stop going so hard, and preserve his body. Jordan's response was perfect, saying that's crazy and that's what basketball is all about. He wasn't thinking about year 15 or year 20, he was thinking about that night's game and that year's championship. Larry Bird had the same mentality, giving everything he had every single night by diving on the floor, playing lockdown defense, and doing whatever it took to win.
Artis Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy, because that's what basketball is all about.
Bird takes it away from Wilkins, goes to the floor and gets it up ahead.
Yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships, like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
Yeah, his career was shorter because of it, but nobody questions Bird's greatness or says he should have paced himself more, because the intensity and the dominance were what made him legendary. The same applies to Jordan. If he had tried to extend his career by playing softer, by resting more and preserving himself, would he still be the GOAT? Absolutely not. The sacrifice is what built the legacy. Modern players don't get that. They think they can pace themselves for 20 years and somehow achieve the same level of greatness, but it doesn't work that way. Greatness requires sacrifice, requires putting everything on the line, requires caring more about winning than about your body feeling perfect. Jordan understood that, Kobe understood that, and the legends who came before understood that, but somewhere along the way, the current generation lost it. They want the glory without the grind, want the legacy without the sacrifice, and that's why they'll never reach Jordan's level. The NBA knows it too, which is why they recently brought Jordan back into the fold as an ambassador, not as a player, but as a voice, as someone who can help fix the cultural problems in today's game. That's significant because Jordan's been retired for over 20 years, hasn't played meaningful basketball since 2003, and yet, when the league needs to address issues with effort and availability and respect for the game, they call Michael Jordan. They don't call LeBron, don't call Durant, They call the guy who set the standard that nobody's been able to match since. Jordan's name still carries more weight than anyone playing today. His message about competing every night, about respecting the fans and loving the game more than the money, resonates in a way that current players' messages don't. He lived those values, proved they work, and his legacy defends itself. He doesn't need to argue with people on social media or make podcasts explaining why he's great. The 6 rings do the talking. The perfect finals record does the talking. And the 10 scoring titles, while also making 9 all-defensive teams, do the talking. That's Jordan's real response to this whole debate. Not words, not arguments, just results. When people debate the greatest player of all time, the conversation still starts with his name. Every new superstar gets measured against him, every championship run gets compared to his, and every dominant performance gets stacked up against what he did. No amount of longevity from LeBron or Durant will ever change that. No amount of seasons played or total points scored will shift the narrative. Because at the end of the day, people remember peaks. They remember dominance. They remember greatness. And Jordan's peak was higher than anyone's. The numbers make it so clear it's almost unfair. 13 dominant seasons produced 6 championships, perfect finals record, 5 MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and 9 all-defensive teams, while longevity players with almost 40 combined seasons have accomplished less. That's not an opinion, that's just math, and it proves that Jordan's philosophy of maximizing every single season instead of spreading yourself thin over 20 years produces better results. Quality beats quantity, intensity beats longevity, and greatness beats just sticking around. Where does that leave us? Is Michael Jordan right that modern players are too soft, that they care more about their brand than their game, that they're not hungry enough? Or are today's stars right that it's smarter to manage your body, extend your career, and play 20-plus years? Honestly, both sides have points. Medical science has evolved. We know more about rest and recovery than we did in Jordan's era, and playing smarter can help you last longer. But here's the thing. If you're playing 22 seasons but sitting out 15 games a year and only going full intensity in the playoffs, are you really maximizing your greatness or just collecting paychecks? Jordan would rather burn out than fade away, would rather give everything for 13 years and be remembered as the greatest than pace himself for 20 and be remembered as really good for a really long time. When you look at the legacies, when you see whose name gets brought up first in every GOAT debate, when you realize that a guy who's been retired for over 2 decades still has more influence than active superstars, you have to admit his way worked. The sacrifice, the intensity, and the pure love of the game. That's what builds legends. Not longevity, not brand deals, not resting on back-to-backs, just showing up every night and proving you're the best. Michael Jordan didn't need 20 years to prove he was the greatest. He just needed one moment, one game, one season to show the world what the best looks like. And he had 13 of those seasons, 13 years of absolute domination, 6 championships and perfect finals record. The highest peak anyone's ever reached, and that's why when people think of basketball greatness, they don't think about who played the longest, they think about who is the best, and that answer hasn't changed in over 20 years. It's still Michael Jordan, and it's probably going to stay that way forever. What do you think? Should players sacrifice everything like Jordan did and go for pure greatness, or is the modern approach of load management and longevity actually smarter? Drop your answer in the comments below, and if you think today's NBA has lost its way, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe because we're breaking down everything happening in basketball and exposing what the mainstream media won't tell you. This conversation isn't over, not even close.
But do you think that's harder now for guys? There's social media and all this stuff, so they got to cut through the clutter here a bit, right?
Yeah, that's true. I like to think that if I was playing today,
right,
I like to think that no matter what, my game is going to validate whatever I try to participate in away from the game. It's really tough for the kids today, and most of them do a great job of navigating what you are talking about. That's, as long as you understand that this is always going to be what you're remembered for. Basketball and your love for basketball should always be pure. We would play this game, I've always said this, we would play this game for free. We did. And now we just so happen to get paid for it. Generationally, you know, I like to think that most of the time that people will remember Michael Jordan based on what he did on the basketball court and not always the commercials that he did.